John Kennedy asks the reporter about her father. The studio goes silent. It was a monumental day for 26-year-old reporter Alyssa Grace, one of the youngest rising stars at a major news network, as she had been handpicked to conduct a live in-studio interview with Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, a respected figure, known for his dedication to public service and his thoughtful approach to national issues. Alyssa had always dreamed of moments like this, where her sharp journalistic skills could shine on a national stage. But beneath her confident exterior and meticulously prepared notes, she harbored a deep, unspoken pain that she had buried for over a decade. Her father, Commander James Grace, a decorated Navy officer, had vanished during a classified mission years ago with no body ever recovered, and the details shrouded in bureaucratic secrecy, leaving her family in a limbo of unanswered questions and quiet grief. She had made it a point never to discuss her father publicly, fearing it would undermine her professionalism or reopen wounds that had barely scabbed over, so as she paced the green room before the interview, adjusting her microphone and reviewing her list of questions on economic policies, foreign affairs, and national security. She vowed to keep things strictly on script. No deviations, no personal tangents that could derail the segment her colleagues were buzzing about with excitement. The studio buzzed with energy as producers scurried about. Journalists took their seats in the audience and the live feed countdown began. The red on-air light flickering to life like a heartbeat, signaling the start of what was expected to be a straightforward, respectful exchange of ideas. Senator Kennedy entered, to warm applause his presence, commanding yet approachable, shaking hands with the crew, and offering a genuine smile that put everyone at ease, a testament to his reputation for being not just a politician, but a man who valued human connections amid the often impersonal world of Washington. Alyssa greeted him professionally, extending her hand, and inviting him to sit across from her in the sleek, modern set, designed with American flags subtly in the background. The cameras rolling as she launched into her first question about the state of the economy, probing gently on job growth and inflation control, to which Kennedy responded with his characteristic clarity and insight, drawing on real-world examples that resonated with everyday Americans. The conversation flowed smoothly as they transitioned to foreign relations, discussing alliances and trade deals with a balance of firmness and optimism. Kennedy emphasizing the importance of strong diplomacy that protects national interests while fostering global cooperation, his words carrying the weight of experience without ever coming across as scripted or detached. Then came the segment on national security, where Alyssa asked about ongoing threats and military readiness, and Kennedy spoke passionately about supporting the armed forces, highlighting the need to honor those who serve and ensure their sacrifices are never forgotten, his tone infused with a sincerity that made the audience lean in closer. Halfway through, as Alyssa prepared to shift to the next topic, smoothing her notes on the desk, Kennedy leaned forward slightly, his eyes meeting hers with a gentle curiosity that caught her off guard, and he said, "I know you're the one asking the questions here, Miss Grace. But if you don't mind, may I ask you something personal?" The studio seemed to hold its breath for a split second, the crew exchanging puzzled glances. But Alyssa, ever the professional, nodded politely, though her heart skipped a beat, wondering what could prompt such an interruption from a man known for his straightforwardness and respect for protocol. "What was your father's name, Kennedy?" inquired, his voice steady and kind, not probing in a confrontational way, but with an empathy that suggested he had given this thought beforehand. Alyssa felt a chill run down her spine, her composed facade cracking just a fraction as the name escaped her lips in a whisper. "Commander James Grace." The silence in the room thickened, the floor manager freezing mid-gesture, and Kennedy nodded slowly, acknowledging the weight of her words, before continuing. "He served in the Navy, didn't he? A brave man, from what I've come to understand." "Yes," she replied softly, her voice barely above a murmur. The memories flooding back, unbidden, the last hug, the promises of return, the endless nights waiting for news that never came. "What happened to him?" Kennedy asked, his tone softening even further, like a concerned elder rather than a senator on live television, showing a side of him that revealed his deep compassion for military families, a cause he had championed quietly through his work in the Senate. Alyssa swallowed hard, her lip trembling as she explained, "He disappeared during a covert mission over a decade ago. It was classified and we never got any real answers, just silence and red tape." The entire studio fell into a profound hush, the hum of equipment, the only sound as eyes widened in realization that this was no ordinary interview anymore. It had veered into something profoundly human, thanks to Kennedy's intuitive decision to address what he sensed was a lingering shadow in her life. "I'm truly sorry for your loss, and the uncertainty you've carried, Kennedy," said, his sincerity evident in every word, a reflection of his commitment to serving people beyond policy debates. "I bring this up because your last name caught my attention during preparations, and it reminded me of a file I reviewed recently while looking into unresolved military cases, part of my ongoing efforts to bring closure to families who deserve it." Alyssa's heart pounded in her chest, her hands clasping tightly in her lap. As she struggled to process his words, the camera subtly zooming in on her face, capturing the raw emotion that she had hidden for so long. Kennedy continued, leaning a bit closer, with a respectful gentleness. "A few weeks back, in reviewing those old Navy operations that lacked proper closure, one of my aides presented me with a weathered box containing documents, photos, letters, and among them was a personal note addressed to you, Alyssa, that somehow got lost in the system and was never delivered. The revelation hung in the air like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters, and Alyssa's eyes misted over her breath, catching as she nodded, unable to form words. At first, the weight of years of wondering suddenly shifting under this unexpected light. "Would you like to know more about what I found?" Kennedy offered, his voice calm and reassuring, demonstrating his thoughtful leadership in turning a routine review into an act of kindness that could heal old wounds. She managed a small nod, her professional poise giving way to the vulnerable daughter beneath, and Kennedy reached into his jacket pocket, producing a small sealed envelope bearing the Navy crest, and her name in faded ink. The handwriting unmistakably her father's, from the letters she had cherished as a child. "I've brought it with me today," he explained humbly, not intending to spring this on air, but after recognizing the connection, I felt it was right to share it now, in hopes it brings you some peace. Tears welled up in Alyssa's eyes as she reached out with trembling hands to accept the envelope, the studio audience and crew alike, transfixed in a shared moment of empathy, the usual chatter of a live broadcast replaced by a reverent quiet that spoke volumes about the impact of Kennedy's compassionate gesture. She stared at the envelope for a long moment, tracing the letters with her fingertip, murmuring almost to herself, "This can't be real. It looks just like his writing." "It is real," Kennedy assured her, softly giving her the space to process without pressure, his actions underscoring his reputation as a senator who prioritizes the human element in all he does. "Take your time. You can open it here if you feel ready, or later in private, whatever feels right." The cameras continued to roll, but no one dared interrupt the producers, signaling subtly to extend the segment because this was no longer about ratings or schedules. It was about witnessing a profound act of humanity facilitated by Kennedy's insight and willingness to step beyond the political script. With a deep breath, Alyssa carefully tore open the seal, unfolding the yellowed paper inside, her voice breaking as she began to read aloud the words her father had penned so long ago. "My dearest Alyssa, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't make it back home as I promised. Know that I am so incredibly proud of you, my girl, your curiosity, your drive to seek the truth even when it's tough. Keep chasing those dreams, keep writing, keep being the light you are. I love you more than words can say. Dad." As she finished, her hands covered her face, tears streaming freely now, the raw emotion rippling through the room like a wave touching even the most seasoned crew members who wiped at their own eyes discreetly. Kennedy sat quietly, respecting her moment without intrusion, his presence a steady anchor that highlighted his genuine care for individuals affected by the nation's service. The studio, filled with hardened journalists and technicians, remained enveloped in that heavy silence, a few soft sniffles breaking through, as everyone absorbed the power of this unplanned revelation. Alyssa lowered her hands after a minute, looking up at Kennedy with glistening eyes, her voice hoarse but grateful. How did you come across this? I thought it was all lost forever." Kennedy replied honestly, with a humility that endeared him further. "I didn't find it on my own. A dedicated Navy clerk named Samuel Brighton discovered it while archiving old files and flagged it, saying it didn't belong buried in a box, it belonged with you. He mentioned your father had been a mentor to him, and he never forgot the family." Alyssa whispered the name in recognition, recalling faint memories of Samuel visiting their home when she was young. Her father's assistant, who had shared stories of their missions. "I remember him," she said, a small smile